Is going live. Are we live? Are we live? I was just watching my other
Looks
phone.
like it. Live on YouTube.
Oh yeah? Oh, you got a
Looks like we're
notification?
live. No, I see it in the corner, bro.
What? Oh, it says it?
Yeah, on my end.
Going live. Are we live? Are we
Now I
live?
can hear myself.
Anyway, you know what? Let me record too because it records better than. Anyway, welcome you guys to Higher Grounds. That might not be the name of the show very long. I kind of picked it hastily based off of some other stuff that I'm doing. But I like it. Higher Ground, presented by LifeSkate. Choo, 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 choo. Yep, Colin is my old friend. And now we are doing this. And it's good for you guys because history begets production value. And production value begets entertainment. And, you know, a lot of people are saying out there about the podcast, you know, are you guys sure you can take on this category? Skate brand, lofty, higher grounds, talking about things that will inspire people. And to them, I say, you know, I appreciate your attention, and I hope to prove to you that we can. And no, I'm just joking. But we're gonna chill and we're gonna chat.
Is that Mayor Kinyo coming out there? Is that what that is?
I don't know. That's me. I'm trying to give context, you know.
Okay.
Like I feel like once it goes live, like I can empathetically feel like the audience, and then I'm thinking about what they might be thinking about. And so this was so random, and I was like, it's so cool at the same time because I'm like, this is actually really cool because how often we don't even get to talk that much in general. We can whenever, but it's just life is weird that way, you know. But I don't talk to that many people in general. Do you talk to anyone?
I'm the same. I got one other buddy I talk to here and there. Mostly just the people I live with. I live with a old friend of my wife's. You know, they've been friends since high school, and I'm good friends with him. So you know, I got people around me that I hang out with. That's
what about the guy who was in the video?
John?
Yeah.
Nah. The last time I had any communication with John, he reached out to me on Facebook Messenger and asked me what was going on with my life. I told him, and then he just never replied.
That's hilarious.
I don't know if he was like, that sounds way better than what's going on in my life, and I don't even want to engage with that. And he was just like, all right, well, that's not what I wanted. All right, bye then. So no.
No, but that's the reality of the whole Facebook thing. You know, it's weird. Who knows? His face, like, he could have like broke his phone or something like that. But
could be, but you know, get a new phone.
Maybe
you know, like,
and then he just decided not to get back on Facebook anymore.
Maybe I don't. You know, to be honest, I don't care.
Yeah, that's what I'm sure he thinks too. He's like, he's not gonna care if I reply.
Yeah, like.
It really wasn't that deep. Yeah, I reached out to a few different people every now and then, but not really, not too much. I don't know, whatever. I do. I probably do more than most people, even though I think I don't do anything. But yeah. All right. So basically, the show's gonna go. We need good topics, and my suggestion was that we talk about our favorite things, because me and Colin, we're both, we both have a keen taste each, and so I think that leads to good curation, which could be of value to those who do not, or who are preoccupied with other things, and it'll be a cool way to shout out brands that might one day give us free stuff. Which is always fun. Free stuff is one of the goals of this show.
Free stuff is...
in my head, there was like a thing that shined. It was like free stuff. So I need to get the animation going. I want to have an animation whenever, eventually I want to have, I'm going to figure it out because I can't keep saying eventually with everything. But I'm going to get something that it pops up free stuff.
Is that you get free stuff or you give free stuff?
We want free stuff. That's one of the main. We should give free stuff too. That'll be another part of the show. Yes, free stuff is part of the show. We will send people stuff for different. We have to figure out a way to do a giveaway. I'll send out probably like a book a week or something like that. I'll give a book away to somebody because until I run out of books. So that's like,
if this legitimately becomes a show about the, better things and like particularly high quality products, maybe we can send out particularly high quality products.
What's that?
Maybe we can send out some of those products.
Exactly, especially if companies, if you guys send us stuff. Oh God, I like this filter better. If you guys send us stuff, then we can send it out to people. But like other stuff that we get, we can send stuff out. I'm gonna eventually buy my first edition of the skate deck. I'm gonna buy mine and I'm gonna buy yours just so I can look at both of them. And I'm legitimately forcing my way into the skate category because I feel like I've earned it. Okay, I played tons of Tony Hawk skateboard. I did learn how to kickflip. Okay, I would have skated way more. Life had privileged me in that direction, and I've consumed tons of the Club and X Games and SLS. So because of that, I feel like I have a legitimate place in this industry.
Seems like you have all the qualifications.
I feel it. And look, my shirt says vibes.
Vibes. You got vibes. All right, cool.
And you're white, so you get it in skate culture. White people have.
Is that how it works? Well, I'm from California too, right? SoCal. White is from SoCal.
Right? You never skated, but you got a white.
Oh no, I did. I skated for like maybe 3 weeks. Maybe a little bit longer than that. And then I got really hurt, and I was like the end of that. I bought a skateboard and I would ride it around, and then I just kept busting ass, just like forward flip out, and I'd fall on my ass, on my tailbone. And then one day I thought it would be a good idea to go down. It seemed steep at the time, but I was like 10. It looked sick vibes, bro. Decided to go down this fairly steep hill for, a 12-year-old kid on the skateboard. And I'm going down, I'm doing well. And I don't consider the fact that there's just a curb there. And I go off the curb, catch the front end, and I wasn't wearing a shirt, and I just grate the front of my body on the asphalt.
Oh yeah.
And I had to go back home and get cleaned out, and I just was like fucking full of like asphalt and shit in my chest. And I was like, all right, well, that's enough.
That's exactly why I didn't skate for a long time. How old were you when that happened?
Yeah, like 12, young, like maybe even younger than that.
That happened to me around that age too. Like I think it was probably like 10 or something like that. I was going downhill on like the skateboard that I remember I had gotten from. That was like the first skateboard that I finally acquired, which was some super janky like Ross skateboard. But I mean, as a kid, it didn't matter. It's not like I was, I didn't have any plans, but I was just riding out. For some reason, I was like, I've been on bikes down hills, skateboard downhill. Sounds like a good idea. I was like, oh, this is getting crazy. And then I like jump off the skateboard into like a freaking gutter. And then I'm just like, I was like, I didn't even tell anyone when I got wounded. So I just like crawled. I remember just like throwing the skateboard somewhere, and I just like crawled into the house, and I was just like slowly like trying to like clean my wound. And I didn't touch a skateboard for at least 5 or 6 years. And then sometime in high school, I got another skateboard, and then I didn't have one for a while, and then I got another one when I was living with Oscar and Steve when I was like 23, 22. And I skated for a little bit. Skated around, especially because I didn't have a car on skate. And then I brought that to Texas. And then I just recently lost that one. That was my Element skateboard that I bought. I just recently lost that one because I had it in this. It's a long story. I'm not going to go into that tale. I guess this would be
okay. So I get it. So that's why now you're gonna have a skate company.
Yeah, because I've earned it and I wanted it, and I already have a skate video out that me and Brian Page recorded way back when. So this isn't even. We recorded that back in San Antonio, and I did a pop shove it on film. Okay, shove it on film, And I have a media company, so I can legitimately publish my own videos with my own soundtracks. So have at me. We're gonna sign somebody. Wait until I don't know who it's gonna be. I'm just gonna get some like amateur dude. You know how little skateboarders make? It is ridiculous.
Probably like 40 grand a year
Yeah,
for like the average Joe.
that's what they consider like killing it, bro. Can you believe
Really?
that? Professionals. Like the
Wow.
professionals might think maybe like 150 is killing it or something like that. There's like a couple people who are doing like what is normal in like NFL and like NBA type numbers. You know, like Tony Hawk, obviously because of the game and everything like that. But most of them are not doing anything.
And can you imagine like how hurt you get, like how rough that is on your body?
Yeah, and especially unless you're winning contests, like you can get like 50 grand on a contest or something like that. I'm like, and that's why, and then Red Bull's doing some good stuff for people and getting people a lot of money. And then Monster now is also getting people a lot of money. So the skateboard industry really needs to expand too, like on how these skateboarders make money. They're going to need to really take advantage of like everything. Well, they're killing it now on YouTube because all these guys, because people want to watch this stuff, so they can just make the money direct by just.
Is it big again? I thought it was kind of dead.
Oh, that's a nice. Is that a Cuban?
No,
No.
it's a Gurkha.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is actually more accurate for me, I feel like. Just
There you
like,
go.
Yeah. It's actiony. But no, I'm gonna go for this one because it's just the colors pop. The colors pop. Yeah.
We're talking about the finer things.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Bougie people over here. Okay, you know what? We should probably talk about a couple of news things, maybe. Nah.
Huh? Talk about what?
Talk about news things too much because like
I think we should probably just talk about. Yeah, I think it's probably appropriate right now.
but
A
no,
lot of
but
big things happening,
everybody
and then
says,
in Georgia, we flip in this state. So
well, that's true. Since you're in Georgia, if you weren't in Georgia, because I mean, like everybody makes an excuse to talk about it, and then that means like if you consume media, everywhere you go, everyone's talking about politics, and I'm like, you know what? That's actually why I listen to so much skate stuff right now because they actually are still talking about skate stuff. They're not taking detours to talk about what's his name, Lindsey Graham, but
or Mitch McConnell, or it's been a bit quite. I mean, it's I mean,
how does it feel over there though? What does it feel like?
where I am, it's kind of expected, right? So like Fulton County is kind of the big reason that the state went blue for Biden, and that we elected two senators or two members of Congress to the House and the Senate. It, it also has a lot to do with this weird election system they have in Georgia, where when there's a runoff, so like if one candidate doesn't get more than 50% of the vote in the first election, it goes to a runoff. It has to go to a runoff or a special election. And then in a special election, the whole state gets the vote on representatives for districts in a state, which seems weird to me. It's almost like it's designed specifically to prevent like Democratic representatives from getting elected, right?
Right.
So why would an entire state need to be voting on one district's representative?
Oh, that's weird.
But it's an indication of how many people are in Democratic areas of Georgia now that they still elected two Democratic members of the Senate. That's
Right.
the first time that's ever happened in Georgia.
Right. Right.
Or
right.
maybe not ever, but like the first time in like 30 years or something like that.
Yeah, they did say in a long time. Yeah. All right. Well, now we know how it feels. I'm going to proceed on to other topics. How's that cigar treating you?
It's good.
Yeah. What does it taste like?
Um, this is like a little spicy. Like it's still just starting off. It's like woody a little bit. It's
I don't even know why that's funny to me.
it tastes like wood. I don't know. It's hard to describe. It's kind of like also almost like umami. Like there's like it almost tastes like meat, sort of like salty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. See, that's probably the characteristic that I've never really picked up in a cigar. Because if I pick that up, I might actually enjoy a cigar or something like that.
There's a lot of things that are important about smoking cigars. Like you want to make sure they're maintained well. So like you can't just buy a cigar and let it sit around. It'll dry out. If it's not the proper humidity, it tastes disgusting. You got to make sure you've eaten like a good meal. Like you don't want to smoke them on an empty stomach. You want to have like water or something around to sip every once in a while because it'll like it's coating your mouth, right? So like eventually you want to get that out. It can get a bit acrid and like a bit heavy.
Right.
You probably know, but you really don't want to inhale. You want to like kind of like you're sucking through a straw.
Yeah.
This one's not really lit. I need to light this more.
We're getting premium info tonight, guys. This is Cigar 101 with Colin Steckner. I'm trying to put my laptop up so that when I'm looking at you, hopefully it looks like I'm kind of looking at the camera, because I realize that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I try to. That's the problem. Fortunately, I'm so far back you can't really tell that I'm looking at you. But really, I should be looking this way. But then I'm gonna look weird on camera. So.
Yeah. I think it's better at least if you're using an iPad. You know, at least the proximity is close. Like, I think because I had my laptop on something down here, and then my camera up here, so I tried to at least get it so it's right underneath, so that my eyes are. But anyway, so you can see my eyes, so it looks like I'm looking down. So, boring. Who wants to look at a guy who's looking down? No one wants to see that. See, I'm looking right at you.
That's right.
I'm not gonna look at Colin. I don't need to see Colin to talk to him.
You're not even talking to me anyways, right? You're talking to the people.
That's well, it's a little bit of both. A little bit. I mean, I'm talking to you, but I'm aware of the people. But
so how do we feel about the Capitol nonsense?
Oh man, please.
And the second rising of the Confederacy.
Let's see how they feel, something like that. I feel like, you know, to a certain degree. You ever hear how people sounded like in like old movies? Be like, hey man, what you doing there? You want to come around? You gotta act straight. Don't just be messing around, bud. I feel like a lot of it was indicative of the fact that, you know, I don't know, they were like reading headlines. And so I'm making this up right now, but it's a long-winded way of saying that. I think back then, when the sound bites were these catchy little things, and that's how you thought popular speech was on a global consciousness level, you aspired for these little things. And I think we've evolved, even if you look at how film has evolved, to like longer form things. But in general, human beings today are still looking for sound bites. And so the problem with that is, okay, that's not what's going on. It's some complex stuff, okay? And most opinions don't matter because it's not always interesting, you know? And we can paint pictures all day, or, you know, we can talk about actions that we can take. Because it's just like, how do I feel?
I mean, yeah, I guess it's a big question. I guess most people don't feel great about it. It's concerning. It's shocking to have to see the National Guard member.
See, you got a different it from me. Everyone has a different it. And then, you know, I don't even enjoy, you know, news. I think news needs to be full scale reformed, truthfully, which is, I guess, a little bit weird to say. But I
How
mean,
so? How would you reform news?
just, you know what? I don't think it needs to be reformed. I'm glad that there are entertainment channels that are news themed. Now,
I mean, I don't disagree with you.
what we need is
I,
some actual news channels. That's what I'm saying. Someone needs to find the biggest problem is that nobody's been able to make a profit off of giving objective facts. So, but that's what someone needs to figure out how to do, and it's not that hard. That's actually what I like about skateboarding too. Skateboarders make money off of facts. There's a bunch of other stuff going on, and yes, charisma matters. Yes, community matters. But it's like we're just gonna go at it until we get the right thing. And we're gonna show you the right thing, even if it takes all day and we're bleeding. And I think that's what we need to do in film and in news. It doesn't all these other things and what everyone's thinking about. Stop playing to the camera. You shouldn't play to the camera. If you there's reasons to do that, and I understand them. So if those are the barriers in which you live, that's cool. Go ahead, let us know. You're unable to provide news. Actually, don't let us know. Just keep doing what you're doing. But I would like to see, and one way of doing it is variety too. Like if we had more news from different. If there was like a platform for all the independent news channels, because there are some independent ones that I think are probably doing good jobs, and if we could consolidate more of those, the high quality ones, which is probably going to happen in like 5 years anyway. My whole rant is probably obsolete already.
well, see, I don't know about that. So I agree with your point is that news is too siloed, right? You have too much segregation in thought, and you have these news sources that are either sensationalizing news or feeding news to a very particular type of viewer, because that it sells ads. And the internet has made that worse, and it's allowed for even more like counterculture, subversive, really extreme news sources like Alex Jones or like One American News. Like these are some pretty far right opinions, and same thing on the left end. The Young Turks or things like that. Some really far on the left. Like, if anything, what I've seen is that the internet has tended to drive these media sources even further down that path. And the world, there was more of a consensus on thought when there were limited news sources, right? Because everybody's getting their news from like one or two people, and they had to be more holistic. They were reporting on just facts, and it was less opinion pieces. And I have a real problem with pundits, right? Like I have a hard time watching news because it's oftentimes 2 or 3 minutes of this is what's going on, and then 20 minutes of people speculating about what it could mean or what could happen or what they really intended by the words that they said. And it's like it's all this nonsense that works people up into a fervor that's based on nothing, right? It's like mental masturbation. People just sit there and go, oh, well, it's probably this, and he's doing this. And then like these people get so mad because they're just like, oh yeah, it's this.
Both the news, they actually feel an obligation. They're both sides are attempting to fulfill an obligation to combat the other side's stuff.
Right.
And so they're intentionally, being whatever to like put on the other, and the other person's like, oh, so we can do it back, and everyone's justifying themselves, and they're enjoying it. They're enjoying it because it's fun.
It makes them money.
It feels like you said. It feels like the fervor is being worked up. I think what would be cool, is just more objective merit so it's like let good news stories win. And I think it could happen if we get into a culture of independent journalists to where they feel really empowered, because I think it's going to happen. I think if it doesn't happen, I mean, something like Vice could have even gone there more. I'm wondering why there isn't someone right now who's I'm doing a pretty okay decent job with my own meager resources. But I'm wondering why someone isn't going all in. More people aren't going all in on documentation of, factual events and things as they go down. I mean, we have so much of it on Facebook. Is that why? Is it all being indexed on Facebook? Are we trusting, because a lot of things do end up on YouTube because everybody has a camera. So it's not like we're lacking for sources, or are we?
Maybe there are still plenty of people that go out on the field and do news, right? Like there's people at all the protests, there's people still going out to wars. Like that news hasn't died. It's probably just been less of what we've been paying attention to lately because there's been how does John Mulaney describe it? A horse loose in a hospital for for the last 4 years in the U.S. Perhaps you don't know that bit. That's John Mulaney's metaphor for Trump. Every time you hear about the horse, he's doing something. Like the horse got into an elevator, and you're like, I didn't know the horse could do that.
Yeah. There's been a lot. And for me, I feel like the thing about the presidency too, there's so much stuff that I just want to go back to facts. I guess if you want to know how I really feel about that kind of stuff, it's just like straightforward. This is what we need to do. The only thing I'm really concerned about is the level of security. I'm like, come on, people, let's get that together ASAP, Rocky. I want some transparency too. I want to see, for all the footage that's being released, I want to see a 1.5 hour documentary about how this place is now indefensible. Drop that documentary on me, and it better be believable, and the tech better be super dope. And then number two, I think politics in general on a federal level are non-interesting. And I think the way that we need to return them to their non-interesting status is to bury them in a burden of information, because bureaucrats are supposed to be focusing on paperwork. And what they need to be doing is making sure we know exactly what's going on and we have a fine-tuned control as a populace over the government. Because we're pretty good at what a government needs to be able to be good at, which isn't everything. And a lot of the stuff they're getting into is philosophical and non-interesting. That's why I don't like sound bites, because now we got Lindsey Graham doing Shakespearean monologues out here. Do you see how happy that dude was to have his time to do his monologue? I've never seen a grown man.
What, this at the impeachment hearing?
Such a Disney-like glee over being able to do a theatrical performance as that man doing his 15 minutes. He was so happy and so expressive. And politicians have gotten like that, and I get it. I don't think politicians should be dull.
Do you think politicians are like unflamboyant actors? Like they really love attention, but they're like really also love procedure and paperwork.
Exactly.
They like love to tattle on people.
You have to have a flair.
They did like theater craft. Well, so Ted Cruz wasn't theater.
Yeah, no, you have to have a flair for theater, because you get these, almost everything they do is theater, because they know when it happens, like because C-SPAN's recording everything, right? Or whatever. Yep. Certain parts of it are being recorded. Now, nationally, only certain things get shown. But on a micro level, whatever you say as a senator, like when you're asking someone a question or like doing these different things on film, whatever you say, it's going to be replayed over and over again in your constituency. And so you're naturally attempting to create these moments of like
you're talking to them, right? You're not really making an argument that matters in the vote or whatever. You're trying to say what you want them to hear, or you're trying to say what you think they want you to say, right? So it's all theatrics on both sides. It's all nonsense.
Yeah. I don't mind theatrics. I think it's good to do theatrics. It was I guess Lindsey Graham, whatever. Enjoy yourself, young man.
Have fun being mad at Trump for what, 4 more days, 5 more days?
I want to say, Lindsey Graham, dance your dance, bro.
I'm
It's
surprised. I thought McConnell might like be participant and like impeach Trump. It sounded like he was gonna be like, sure, we'll do it, but it looks like they're not gonna let the Senate come back until the 19th. So maybe
uh,
we'll see if he what they do after he leaves office, because they might still go after him.
yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I mean, either way, I'll leave it up to. I will leave it up to them. I'm not really interested in politics above the city level. I feel like after that it starts to get really paperworky, and there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not
I think
interested.
all politics, all of it is just paperwork, right?
Yeah, but it's just because like it's just the scale of it becomes so broad. Once you say you're in charge of like a city is already almost unbelievable, but once you try to say you're in charge of like this region, it's like, what does that really mean? It becomes more about this whole processing unit in the state capital or wherever that is, and you're this whole other universe that is really about their stuff. And it's like, I'm not even interested. I could get in there and actually do some stuff because I could play politics, but it's such a slow, unendearing game. Like,
Well,
we
it
get to see the
depends.
highlights, but imagine what they're doing the rest of the time. That's why that's such a boring life.
Well, right now it's
unless you love it.
if you're a Democrat, it's a get shit done time, right?
Yeah.
As long as you control all three branches of power, you can get shit done.
Yeah. I mean,
Except they don't have the
they're
legislative or the judicial, huh?
They're balanced in the Senate.
No, they're not.
What is it? Isn't it 50?
Democrats, it's 50-50 with a Democratic split. Kamala's is the splitting vote, casting vote. So it's 51-50. So Democrats have both houses of Congress.
So see, now I have to speak on this because I'm running for mayor, and then people are going to bring this clip up and say you didn't even know this about stuff. I'm going to be like, first of all, sir,
I'm your manager. Don't worry.
Yeah, he's on the team, so I knew it. Anything he knows, I know. It's like he does not live in the city. You know what?
That was why it was such a big deal. Like, that gave the Democrats the lead in the Senate. So they have the House, they have the Senate, and they have the presidency. So that's how you make real legislative change.
Let's see what that means. I think it'll definitely mean a couple cool things, But at the end of the day, it's like we live in a big, when it comes to government, it's a big sim city, And it's like you can enact this policy, you can do that much stuff, but I think people really like to think about this grand scale of like, and it affects their life probably like really 0.2 to like 6%, and on the most dramatic end, like 45%, which is annoying. But there's so much living that we get to do over our lives, and that's why I think on the city level there's some affection. There's like a 20% effect you can have like as a mayor on a city, on human beings' lives, I think, if you do a really stellar job. But even then, it's up to us individually. People are worried about this guy voting when they're eating McDonald's 4 times a week. I'm like, first of all, shut up. You haven't even started the process of being a contributing citizen. Okay, if you're not, and that's on me too. Like with our dollars are our most gigantic vote, and people do. If we looked at what people believe based on what they spend, which would be the most accurate, most people just need to be quiet and focus on themselves, which is really what I think needs to go down, mostly. And there's some other changes, because what that will do is affect the changes that we actually want to see. If you work on yourself, calm, meditate, catch the breath. Now visit the park, boom. Everybody, there's an uptick, 2% of park visitations. Think about how the trickle effect of whatever that does. It's a good thing. It's very easy to get back to it, but it's not going to be, let's all go crazy and run ourselves ragged and we're going to find a solution to what? There's nothing wrong except for all of you. Please, everybody take more naps, breathe deeper, alkaline water, long walks, therapy, couples counseling, church. Everything will be fine if everyone does that. If that doesn't
That
happen,
will help. I do also think it's important to be an educated member of society.
oh no,
And
no,
vote,
go
right?
to school. People also leave school. I don't think anyone should ever leave school. I think education is a lifelong thing. I think that's the good thing about good careers. They keep you educated. You know, like doctors never stop being educated. And most professionals never, registered professionals or whatever, they never stop being educated. But then there's a whole,
I gotta learn shit all the time.
Use media to educate themselves, but that's why the onus is on. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe media isn't yet ready for the responsibility that it has, and we need to figure out what that means. Like if would that make no? But then we're getting into some 1984 stuff. I was going to be like, maybe there should be like a state-sponsored channel inside of everyone's house.
Well, there kind of is, right? There's public broadcasting.
Yeah, and there's the emergency alert system. But I mean, as far as leveling the playing field on information, the problem with that is it's so hard because it's on us. Individuals can choose to skew anything, and then we're wrong.
Yeah. Humans are inherently biased. It's very difficult to have a purely nonpartisan standpoint because people are all flawed and people are always the ones creating content. So there's always going to be a skew one way or the other. Unless you have some very intelligent people that are capable of making a very deliberate effort to not be partisan.
Wait a second. That sounds like what we're doing right here. I think I just clipped out the soundbite for the whole show. Very intelligent people who are capable of making an intentional effort to not be biased. But then we have the classification of intelligence. That's why it just has to be done. And it's such a merit-based thing. That's the cool thing about humanity. Literally, I don't think we're presently really at risk of destroying ourselves. I think, though, we've shown indications of what we might one day use to destroy ourselves. But I think until then, I think we still have a lot of space where we can turn up our focus on merit and really become savvy curators of value, because it's going to take, I don't know how far we can go down on that road, but it's going to take that level of focus if we want to achieve some of the great things that a civilization would be able to achieve, because it's very easy to stagnate out and it's done. It's donezo very easily, I think. Well, yes, very easily.
But I think probably, U.S. is on the way there.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. There'll always be a reformation. But anyway, we don't even need to get that. Even if that happened, it would be most likely like 600 years from now or something like that. Or other stuff could go down. But
well, we could have a lull. Things could get better.
We're just blessed to actually be way less sophisticated than we think, because imagine if we had the level of chaos we had right now, but there really was a button you could press where the president could lock everybody's door or do something like that, or there were these mass level, because technology can get to some really crazy levels and it will in the future. So it's like we're gonna have to be able to think a lot more rationally to be able to.
I know what you're saying, but I think there would have to be a lot of breakdowns in the protections we have in this country for it to ever get to the point where a president could lock all our doors.
Okay, well, that was a really bad metaphor, and I feel like I shouldn't have even brought that up because that gets into some really weird ideas.
Yeah, some serious 1984. That you have 1984 on the brain.
Yeah, that was
now you're putting TVs in everyone's homes that monitors them and makes them get up and do exercise. And you're gonna have to find some chick and bone in the woods and some rundown shack. Hope you didn't get caught, and then get arrested for thought crimes. That's double negative bad.
Yeah. And I meant it in a way more just casual way. I think eventually all matter. I think one thing that we don't take account, we think that we're mostly advanced, right? But we have these things called walls, and that's like wasted space. A lot of our space is wasted. I think that eventually all matter will be like data, in where like you could delete a portion of your wall with like just pressing a button or something like that.
Or like hard light. Like hard
Yes,
light.
exactly. Like, but just data. It would just be like you could just have like, even because you could have it a lot like pixels, right? Like over time you could increase the definition. Imagine in the beginning it was just like, no, it's not vanishing. It's just like moving. Literally,
Yeah, it's hard light. It's objects you can create with light emitting objects that are physical but aren't really physical, right?
How do you matter?
This concept
like
of hard light.
In the beginning, it would just be like, you could have it be like mechanical, honestly. It would just be when machines got to the level, I think machines lack definition right now, but they have way more definition than they had like 300 years from now. So imagine when you have a mechanical system that is the size of, just like nanobots, what people think about as
nanobytes.
I think that's going to be more of the root of how it's going to work. Like, you'll just be able to reconstruct everything via nanites are ridiculously, from what I've seen, energy intensive. I think it's going to be something much more fluid and just based off of, there's going to be like more chemistry into it, where it's just like, yeah, I just want to like delete that, because you'll already know that you want the wall to be deleted, which means if you're designing that into the purpose of the wall, I think you could use a material that allows for a certain configuration of stuff, and that'll get better over time as well, or something like that. Anyway, well, went off the deep end, and all the credibility has been lost on this podcast. They're just like, like there's no physics in that.
Episode 1. Credibility over. Hey, at least it's a redemption arc now.
What's that?
At least it's a redemption arc now. Like,
right?
This isn't like a successful podcast. This is you coming back from your failures and how you ruined your reputation.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. So what are you watching on TV? Or not on TV? What do you watch?
Well, I watch. I have normal rotation on stuff on YouTube. I watch like Internet Today and like just like shit there. I finished Avatar. I've been watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. I watched that for the first time ever.
That's interesting.
You ever seen that?
Kind of. Yeah, I didn't do too much of that one. I actually liked the movie, kind of. And the show I did watch, I think the entire first season, and then it kind of like broke off. But I think I've seen almost all of it.
I really liked it. I think it's really good.
I thought it was really cool when it first came out, but I mean, how is it now?
There's some fucked up shit. I was just rewatching the first series, so it was the first time I'd ever watched it. They had Legend of Korra that came out afterwards, but I was just rewatching the first series. I'd never seen it.
You realize you swore on the podcast, right?
Huh?
You swore. You swore on the podcast. I just want to apologize to all of our viewers.
Is this a Christian channel?
Why is swearing equated with Christianity?
Just don't know why we can't swear.
I mean, it is a Christian channel. It's definitely a Christian channel. Everything I do, I never understood the classification of like a Christian artist. It's like, that means there's a lot more Christian music than we're talking about, because there's a lot of Christian people making music. How come all of their music isn't called Christian music? Are they Christian people making music? What are they making?
Christian music has a particular angle of being Christian focused, right? So
well, okay. Yeah. It's not
like talking about Jesus and your love of God and like things like that. Or like how God lifts you up, or like how God gives you the spirit, things like that. That's what the kind of themes in music that I would consider to be like Christian music.
I guess so, but I mean, people will say that in regular music. It's just, I think it's more of like, it's just like micro industry. I think it's an industry of people supplying things to the church, but then they turned it into a genre on top of that, that would be like having a genre called skateboard music to me. It's like, this is music for skaters. And there probably is kind of, but it would be that.
I mean, there was maybe like in the early 2000s,
Yeah. Or
like
paint.
when the skateboarding was like its peak.
Hmm?
But it was mostly just like punk music, right? Like
Yeah.
there was
A lot of
skate
hip-hop,
music, but it was a lot.
a lot of
Sure,
hip hop,
kind
surprisingly.
of the later on actually. Like it started with punk, and then hip hop kind of adopted skating in like the late 2000s, early 2010s.
I don't know, even like 90s, rock had it for like rock and punk did have it for like, I think like 70, you know, I'm gonna be so wrong on this stuff, but like 70s, you know, early 80s, but I feel like, and I'm just making this up, but I feel like hip hop kind of started taking it late when it came around, basically, because of like, you know, you think about New York, so it was really in there. You look back on the skate videos, it's actually kind of surprising the how many of like the OG skaters were like these hip hop guys. You look at Chad Muska, for instance, you know, his whole thing was the whole hip hop thing. You know, he would have the stereo, wear like jerseys, and do all this. And he listened to like nothing but hip hop, and that was what like throughout the '90s, and but it's interesting. It's interesting. Hip hop really took over a lot of American video stuff.
Yeah, especially in the last 15 years.
Yeah, but then again, there's also a lot of country music. Country music is a very big thing, especially if you look at all of the South.
Yeah, I mean it's less in the pop culture though. It's less popular amongst the youth. It's
Yeah,
not cool.
it's true. Oh
There's
yeah,
definitely a lot of people that listen to country music. It's just not,
yeah. They have a
you know,
they had that one show. They don't have as much. They don't have as much stuff, but like I feel, yeah, that's true. They got a couple shows, but like yeah, they got a couple shows.
they got channels,
Yeah, channels, shows, country,
music, radio,
hip hop,
radio channels, music
music.
channels.
What else is big? You got hip hop, country.
Um, I mean, I guess rock, alternative rock kind of stuff is still big, but even that's still adopting rap right now. 21 Pilots, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. I feel like alternative rock really shrunk. Like I feel like I don't see much of that anymore.
Look, EDM influences are becoming big in all music,
Yeah.
more and more common. I think just as more as people adopt technology, for whatever reason, people tend to.
And there are EDM channels. There's like Fuse does a lot of EDM stuff or whatever. There's that channel, but yeah, EDM is pretty big. I'm surprised that there aren't more things catering to people who like that because it is pretty like cool. Like if you could have a cool, I mean, it is in the culture. It's in hip hop a lot too. So
Yeah, it's always kind of like kind of a extra taste on whatever else music you're playing. Like like it's usually in the production. It's not the main
right,
attraction to the music, right? Like it's used as an accent piece on
right.
some other types of music that's become popular because I mean it's been around for so long and it's so popular in the club scene, but I think you haven't really seen like just pure EDM music be really in the pop. I mean, it was kind of in the early 2000s, late 90s. Kind of like Prodigy kind of made that, Prodigy was kind of like the most mainstream EDM that I can think of, stuff like that. And then that became pop more popular. Daft Punk came out, and then Daft Punk did work with Kanye West, and that's kind of where I think all that stuff started becoming progenerated.
Yeah. I thought to myself, I was like, I really like the idea of this being a Christian show. So like that's an angle. That's an angle on this whole thing right now. It's me, Kinyo, and Colin on the Christian.
It's only 50% Christian on this Christian channel, though. So.
I mean, not really.
No, not really.
You say you have to
Christian.
Yeah. But I mean, you don't have to be. You could have that's like saying, could I run a Jewish TV show? I think I could.
No.
What?
No, I don't think you could.
I could. I might need to hire an actor or something like that, or to do something else like that, or to.
It's like a TV show about Jewish people. Is that what you're saying?
Reports about stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
There you go. No, but what was I thinking? No, I don't think I was thinking anything else. So we're probably going to end this podcast pretty soon. With that in mind, let me dive into a couple other questions that I have for you.
How long were we on for?
It's about 50 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, we went in on there. We had some fun. So, but let's round it up. I'm thinking, what's your whole opinions on social media? Let's get some hot takes.
I don't like it at all. I think it brings out the worst in people.
What do you think what do you think the best technology for communication is right now?
This kind of stuff. Zoom, FaceTime, just regular text messaging, just SMS, calling people. I think the problem with like Facebook and a lot of social media is there's a lot of posturing. There's a lot of misrepresenting who you really are, and there's a lot of tribalism that kind of brings out the worst in people. And I think it's kind of, to go back to what we were talking about earlier, which you didn't really want to talk about, kind of what's led to this split, this rift in the culture that we have right now, politically and socially, is driven by social media and people being able to go in their little bubbles and not have to talk to anybody else that isn't exactly like them and doesn't share exactly their opinions.
But I think you're taking for granted as an intelligent person that is what everyone was already doing.
I guess that's true.
Even worse so, actually. Because
so?
Now you have like women in households who are isolated, whatever the husband says, you're not going to be like fighting with this dude in those eras, because like he's literally like almost in charge of the entire universe as far as you're concerned. And then, like, especially in this community, you're going to like have a husband who believes this and you're in this community. No, like people were way more mono than they are now, because they didn't even have, now they're manifesting their crap and we're able to see it, because it's like, oh, we have data on it, because it's like 50,000 Facebook groups about Nazism. They were already doing that. They didn't begin doing it because that's what happened in their town. That's what was going on in their bar. That was going on. That's how, whatever.
So my counterpoint to that is, I think that also, in some level, validates those opinions, right? Because I think that those are not the majority opinions. They tend to be a small group of people that share those opinions, and there's both good and bad here, right? Your first point about somebody that's in a tough situation where the social media is an outlet to communicate with somebody for support is helpful. But I think it also can allow people that have subversive thoughts that are negative to talk about taking over the Capitol, right? To form bonds over the internet.
Again, it's true. I think I just honestly think that people they're not worse or better for it. I think we get to see who people really are, and quite frankly, on a very micro level, you just look at humans. That's who they want to be. People want to be that, mostly because of, I think, convenience. Like, it's not real to them, really. Like, you have ideas about stuff. It's actually more of a contextual element to explain the interpersonal dynamics of your family group. So it's actually more, in some of those groups, an explanation of why the alpha male in that group is so alpha. And so he's able to explain it in a narrative of these others as a very weak argument, but it works to like bump up that thing. And then when it manifests to where you actually meet these others, you have to act out whatever foolishness you were using as part of your paradigm, which is unfortunate. The education of mankind is slow, and yet you guys are blessed that Colin and I here are taking some time to try to get at the merit and the bones.
You want to hear the other reasons I don't like social media, or you want to end this?
What's that?
You want to hear my other reasons why I don't like social media, or do we want to end this?
Oh no, keep going. We got at least 9 more.
Are you trying to go for a solid 60 here?
I was thinking, yeah, I want to keep it right around an hour.
So the other part that I don't like about social media is I don't like that what is inherently a personal thing, relationship with other people, are being recorded and monetized by gigantic IT corporations. It just really puts a sour taste in my mouth that anytime you communicate with somebody or you're posting anything online, somebody's recording that forever, and they're using it to build a profile based on you to sell you shit. I really don't like that at all. I don't mind communicating over the internet. I'd prefer it to be encrypted and not recorded. But you don't get with that with Twitter, Facebook, and you're seeing a real lashing out. People lashing out against Facebook, pushing back, and not really, canceling their accounts because they don't like, what they're doing, how much data they collect on them, how your data is not really protected, how they just give it away to companies that want to use their APIs and things like that. It's really almost dystopian. And I've had a problem with it for like 10 plus years now. Yeah. I've never really liked Facebook. I mean, I was kind of in MySpace, and the older I got, the more I was really driven away by that idea that my entire life was being recorded and monetized.
Yes, but it's all user generated. So what's going on though is that people, the whole basis of Facebook is that people like it. That's the whole thing with products. They cost money to make. Nobody makes a product that nobody wants because that would be
I understand the trade, right?
It's like people, but why do people want it? Because they want to record their lives. Just like, let's say you had if you were rich, back in the day, you had a butler. It is weird to imagine having a whole human being, a flawed human being living inside of your house, doing stuff. It's very annoying, and I understand, and the
makes me nostalgic. A whole other human being doing my chores for me. Sorry, it was a bad joke.
It's fun for a while, but it's there's real implications of that, even in domestic partnerships where it gets real. It seems there's no such thing as you could get I think that's where anyway, never mind. Not going down that. I get it, and I think that's why these things will change, because they are driven by, again, our most powerful vote, which is, well, one, our money, which is the same thing as our attention when it comes to the internet, because we're paying to use the internet. So anything that you don't watch or we don't watch won't exist at all. Even a little bit.
That's true. And the truth is that I am in the minority. You're right. Most people do want to have their lives recorded. They do want to have that communication with people. They don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
I'm very rare in that case. It really is something I don't like. And I honestly don't really put anything on social media. Everything that if you've seen my Facebook, all of those photos that have been posted in the last few years were not posted by me. My wife had a need to post stuff on Facebook and create a relationship status on Facebook.
I know that you are a man of wealth. I know that you are secure in the world, but
of wealth.
Wife, I'm going to make you also look like a human being and post some pictures. Also, I'm gonna need you to get on Instagram. Okay, I need you to be posting once a week on Instagram as part of our whole co-hosting thing. So you're just gonna have to dig
I
deep.
can't just say words. You're good with the socials. You post the ads. I'll make the word sounds.
No, I don't want to manage your social media because I want people to hit you up and like.
Well, don't even just advertise your own socials, right?
No. This is not all right. I'm gonna make an Instagram for you then. No, I'm gonna advertise it. I
have an Insta. I just don't post shit on there. What am I gonna post?
Just post. I'm gonna send you clips of this and post. Talk about, I don't know, what do you post a picture of the sunset every day? That's what Instagram's really.
What am I, a 16-year-old girl now? I'm gonna post pictures of my Uggs and the Starbucks I got today.
Actually, okay, well, you don't get Starbucks, but the equivalent, you could post a picture of your cigar. You could post, the best thing. There's
ultra manly stuff. I'll take photos of me like with my beard all groomed, smoking a cigar with like sunglasses and like black and white.
Post educational memes. Just like find memes that you like, that you think are educational, and just do that. That's one good way to know that you're moving the world for the better.
I don't know if that's me, bro. My memes are dark.
Well, go ahead.
I should start sharing my meme game with you.
Okay, yeah. Send them to me first so we make sure
that you can filter through. You can see my kind of taste and see if you want me to be.
You're only gonna post stuff anyway, so you're worried about your own career. So I don't even have to censor.
That's what I'm saying though. Like I'm not the guy to be posting educational memes.
Yeah, just post positive, or just post whatever your wife posts on Facebook.
But nice stuff.
That's your wife.
Hey, make me look relatable.
Just ask her if she'll manage your Instagram. Maybe she'll.
I'll tell her to start when she's going into labor, which actually is going to be soon.
That's true. That's way more important than Instagram. Don't worry about Instagram. You're doing important.
No, I'm going to tell her. Not Kinyo, and she's gonna be like Kinyo, and it'll be like Kinyo said. And you need to start posting shit on Instagram to advertise our podcast.
Not even
gotta get our name out there.
I just want you to be on. I actually just want you to be on.
Are you serious? I'm contracting right now. I'm contracting you to post it on Instagram.
Yeah, and eventually they're gonna
get on it. Don't worry. Women, they got it too easy.
I want them to send us free stuff. Eventually, people are gonna watch this video, and then they'll go check out. They'll be like, "Oh, Colin's real, Kinyo's real," and they might send us a GoPro. I'm doing this right here for the people.
And the free stuff.
I'm thinking about I should do a little painting right now. But okay, so good. I'm rounding up the podcast, rounding up the show. What else did I want to get to? Anything?
I do think this is a better podcast if it's funny and bullshit rather than trying to inspire the world to be better.
No, I agree. I didn't say anything about trying to inspire the world to be better. Everything is subliminally to inspire the world to be better, but mostly just by being yourself. Like if you are yourself and you take time to be calm and healthy, you won't take out all your random misinformation on everybody else.
Well, I think we could be an outlet for people by, giving them some breathe with nonsense bullshit and maybe sharing some opinions they also have.
Okay,
right?
You've sworn 3 times in the last 3 minutes.
I'm a person, bro.
No, you're doing it intentionally. And
I don't even know, to be honest, I don't even know when I did it.
I'm just going to find, every time you do it, I'm going to start sending you little invoices for fines. It's going to be like 50 cents, 30 cents. Like, it's just going to show up. I'm going to go Pavlov with it. And you don't even have to pay him after. You'll just see him and you'll just be like, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay him. You can send him. I'll let my wife pay him.
That's terrible. I don't
Woman, did you where your Instagram posts?
I mean, I was just saying since she was managing the Facebook, I thought.
No, more background on that. I had closed, or I hadn't closed it completely because at that time they wouldn't let you close it. It was deactivated.
Yeah.
And, early in our dating years, she asked me to let her reactivate it. And so she could add our relationship status on there and like post photos together and stuff like that. And then my grandmother found out I was on there. And now that's the only way she'll communicate with me is through Facebook Messenger. She has a phone. I've said, you can text me, like it's the same thing. You can just text me, it's instantaneous. But she'll only communicate with me on Facebook Messenger. So that's the only reason that I have socials, because I cannot get my grandmother to not communicate with me on Facebook. So there's no new photos on there. And there's stuff on my timeline. It's just because I'm friends with people, but like I don't post shit on there. So,
yeah. I'm gonna get you.
But no, I'll get her. She's being lazy. You're right. She's got it too easy. I'll get her back to work.
All right. Anyway, best of wishes. Congratulations on your soon-to-be daddery.
Yeah, dude.
Everything I've seen from your life tells me that you're going to be a great dad. So,
I'm right.
So I look forward to it. Anyway, we're going to end the podcast here, you guys. So you can find. There's nothing to find. If you're watching this, then you've already found it. So it doesn't really make sense to go into any more explanation. Thank you guys for watching. Bye. Oh, you know what? I was gonna hang up on Colin at the same time.